Launched in July 2013 by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Operation Wealth Creation is a civil-military intervention in Uganda designed to transition subsistence farmers into commercial agriculture. Over its first 13 years, Operation Wealth Creation has significantly boosted household incomes, elevated Uganda to Africa's top coffee exporter, and reduced the number of households surviving outside the money economy.
The background of it was that the president realized from the census that had taken place that Uganda's population, 68% of it, was outside the money economy. And why 2013? 2013, June 9th, the president officiated at the function of Heroes Day that was held in Butarangwa, Nakaseke district. And after his address to the nation, many civilian veterans came out to him crying for help.
He was disappointed and he was experiencing a lot of challenges. When he would go to the functions, his old people who worked so hard to liberate this country would run to him, telling him how they were in a dire state, they don't know what government programs are, and they were not benefiting.
Yewuunya nnyo okulaba nga abadde yali akoze kinene nnyo nkuyamba abazirwanako, naye yagenda okwesiŋŋaana nga bayaayaana nnyo, ne yeewuunya lwaki abantu bakyayaayaana nnyo mu kiseera ekyo ng'ate yali ataddemu ensimbi nnyingi nnyo okulaba nga bawa ebyokukola n'okulaba engeri bayinza okuva mu bwavu.
The coming of these veterans confirmed what he had seen from the results of the census, that 68% of the Ugandans were outside the money economy. So on 14th July, same year, 2013, he launched the first program of Operation Wealth Creation in Ngoma at a place called Kasambia.
On that great day, our chief coordinator was named as the head of the operation. By then, Brigadier, now a Lieutenant General, Proscovia Nalweso was the deputy, and other officers were named. I had the honor and privilege to be the first political head of Operation Wealth Creation. This is when I was appointed to be a Minister of State for Luweero Triangle, and I had the privilege and the honor to witness the birth of OWC.
Originally, it was focusing on the veterans of civilian veterans of NRA in Luweero and Rwenzori.
When I talk of civilian veterans, I mean people who helped during the NRA-NRM Liberation War of 1981 to 86. Now, at that time, I was in the president's office under him as his special presidential assistant for political affairs. So he asked me to make a program to visit all our old operation zones of NRA. So I made a program that was to last about 2 months of being in the field. And we were moving daily with him. So after Ngoma, we came to Kapeka, which is Kabarega. After Kabarega, we moved to Mondrane, which takes the area of Makurubita, that is Karasa, that area. Then we moved on until we covered all of them.
So we started handling the veterans in the former NRA regions, that is Luweero, Mpigi, and Mubende, and then Rwenzori.
He had instructed Afande Saleh to identify officers who come from those very areas at a rank not below Lieutenant Colonel.
Each war zone, they would identify their own sons who knew the language, who knew the people, and it contributed a lot to the success of our program.
He also gave us tasks of what was supposed to be done.
The President gave the Operation Wealth Creation team 8 tasks in 2013, which were delivery of planting and breeding materials to beneficiaries, encourage and cause agricultural mechanization, provide low-cost housing to civilian veterans, ensure provision of water for all, ensure payment of pension and gratuity to civilian veterans and retired members of the national forces, encourage provision of microfinance services, overseeing systematic improvement of infrastructure and social services, ensure value addition to agricultural products. With these tasks, the Operation Wealth Creation team was ready to go to the field.
Now, when we went to the field, we found also our colleagues, the military veterans, they were there. So he said, take care of them as well when you go in.
In these 13 years, I first had to train the soldiers, actually the army officers, particularly those who do the coordination in the districts, and help them to ensure that while they are promoting the planting of coffee, tell them they need life. Tell them they should warn their children to be careful for their lives. HIV did not discriminate anybody.
The time we started, first of all, we had a program called NADS, which used to support the farmers. But by the time we came in, there were other issues that had come in. People were talking of corruption. People were talking of not sufficient support. And we came in to support NADS and the Ministry of Agriculture in general. So we moved from house to house. We supported the farmers with inputs.
When we distributed the first in the war zones, the program was very successful. We had very bumper harvest, mainly of maize and beans.
For food security, mainly in the Buganda region, we were distributing bananas, we were distributing beans, we were distributing maize, and of course economic coffee.
I joined the coffee sector in 2014 to do interventions in coffee production, to increase production and productivity. So waiting first to supply seedlings in order to increase production and subsequently increase the income in the national coffers.
We performed very well. The output was clearly seen, and other people started demanding that they wanted the approach of OWC, where we would identify the farmers, we would supervise them very closely when we would distribute the inputs, and we were working together with the technical people, the agriculture extension workers. So there was demand, it was demand-driven.
The president decides that we should roll out to the whole country. Afterwards, I was appointed the political commissar of the program.
After getting good results from the war zones, the Operation Wealth Creation team embarked on a nationwide coverage, and the president appointed 300 officers to cover every constituency. However, this came with a lot of challenges.
The army was not involved in procurement. NADS would procure, and the officers would supply. Now, the consumer, who is the common man there in the village, was looking at the supplier, not the one who procured. So any blame was being put on the soldiers who were distributing. But they were distributing what was procured by somebody else.
We had challenges. First of all, NADS, we supported NADS which was supported by the Ministry of Agriculture to get inputs. But some of the inputs, you would give them to the farmers and they misuse them. For example, inputs, someone would be given a cow, but maybe he doesn't have the passion for a cow. And the cows would end up either sold in butchers or they are not looked after.
You give somebody, you supply coffee, this person doesn't plant it. That's why you will find that our records may show that we supplied so many coffee seedlings, but when you go on the ground, they may not be there. Two things, some were not planted. I remember some cases where I visited and found coffee drying at the sub-county headquarters. I remember one place in Chivoga, in Twetwe sub-county. I went there and found they had piled all the coffee there and the cassava cuttings, they dried up there.
One time I was in Kabali, someone told me he was given a cow which consumes 40 liters a day. But for him, he doesn't have the capacity even to get water to wash his eyes. So that thing, somehow, it necessitated that the people who wanted to use our inputs they should play a bigger role. And I think that's what the president came up to say, let the people be given financial support so they can buy the input, the enterprise which they are interested in, other than for us, what we found in place to impose. The imposition from top to the individuals should change so that the individuals can be assisted to buy what they can do and practice what they can manage best. So this is the concept of OWC changing from the input supplies to PDM.
Betugaba ensigo batukwagana ne NADS naye twesiŋŋana nga ekintu kyakyukamuko abantu nga bakomplaininga nti ensigo tezibatuukako bulungi. Kaakati president kwe kujjawo ne program ate empya ey'emyoga neya PDM.
People kept speculating that it is the OWC who were giving wrong inputs and delays.
With all these challenges the army was facing in the field, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni decided that people should be given money so that they can choose their own enterprises, which gave birth to the Parish Development Model, PDM.
So His Excellency directed that OWC moves away from distribution of inputs and we start supervision, higher level supervision.
The president decided to withdraw Operation Wealth Creation. Actually, on the advice of Operation Wealth Creation itself, the leader, Salim Saleh, during that time, we had come up, the Operation Wealth Creation had now come out with another program of moving from supplying to availing funds to the people to procure for themselves, so that we no longer have procurement. And that program which Salim Saleh thought of and initiated is what gave birth to PDM. PDM did not come to oppose Operation Wealth Creation. It's a brainchild of Operation Wealth Creation.
The president said in his own words that there was a complaint that we were selective in the people who were benefiting from the inputs. And putting it in the local vernacular, he said, they say abajasi bagabira bantu bawe oba begabira bokka. And he said, here is the money, this to do the selection of the beneficiaries, kale mwegabire mweka, and let me see where the excuse, he called it Lwekwaso, will come from. And that time our mandate changed to say we should be there to see that the money is put into the right enterprises and is put in to the right beneficiaries, because we are targeting 34% from the 68 that we are looking at. PDM was launched in Chibuku, and during that time the president said money should go to the parishes instead of going through the district local government.
Now we have changed. We shall get the money and give it to your government at the parish.
You see, when the money came, two things. The parish development committee was not facilitated. So they were tempted to subtract part of this money to facilitate themselves. Now the PDM Secretariat has now made a provision that when the money comes, there is a component of facilitation to the parish development committee. The 1 million per person remains intact. Because as I said, one of our tasks was to make sure they get soft loans. This money is a loan. And actually important to note is that this money is the core funds that are going to create a parish bank. So payment must be taken serious. If you borrow this money, you must make sure you pay.
The parish development model has been a very good strategy and has had a lot of success stories which impressed the president during his PDM tour around the country. President Museveni has always praised Operation Wealth Creation for raising household incomes, shifting citizens from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, and growing participation in the money economy from 30% in 2013 to 70% today. It is now 13 years since the president launched Operation Wealth Creation, and a lot has been achieved and more is yet to be achieved.
As OWC, interventions of OWC, the big milestone is that we have increased the coffee production in the country at the farm level. And for that case, Uganda is now the leading coffee exporter in Africa. This is a very big achievement of OWC because it has never been happened.
Coffee is a priority crop in Uganda because it gives income to the subsistence farmers, whom Museveni is fighting to put out of poverty. So we have had an upward trend in the production of coffee. Since 2014, we used to produce around 2.5 million bags, and which could result into around $400 million. But as of calendar year 2025, it increased to 7.7 million bags, which earned us $2.2 billion. So it has been an upward trend.
As OWC, we have also increased on other crops production like tea, like cocoa. Cocoa, the potential of cocoa has risen up that now all the international companies are looking at Uganda for cocoa into the chocolate industry and cocoa beverages. So having increased, especially like export crops, we are also involved into grain. We are giving like maize seedlings to the farmers. We are now the main World Bank, which use another World Food Program, which used to import food to feed the other countries like in Uganda. We are the main producers of grain, and we are feeding Eastern Central Africa now. Out of our intervention, Uganda, the crops, export crops have increased. We are now amongst the leading exporter of milk products in Africa. Uganda, our net balance of trade we used to import more and export nothing. But now our exports are surpassing imports. We've been able to help start something that I have never seen before. I was born before independence. I know what happened during the colonial days, but the program now that we have of making sure that the ordinary people who in the past never participated in the money economy of the country, now they are fighting because they feel the parish development model is theirs. Every man, every woman has been informed that the government is for you, and this is how it works.
I was posted to Rural Electrification Agency as a liaison officer because operation electrification structure is multi-sectoral in terms of operations. With MDAs, ministries, departments and agencies, there was a need to put liaison officers because accordingly, I think in terms of service, they lacked some coordination. In my sector, I had to ensure, because poverty education means there was need of production like SMEs, small and medium enterprises, where they needed electricity, so they needed three-phase connections. On this, I ensured a lot that these SMEs get connected to the grid so that it may have value addition. And for example, there's Bila Millers here in Nakuwade. They have expanded, and we gave them the first eight transformers. We added them, and we are going to even to add them. When you go to Anaka in Noya district, we managed to extend a three-phase line to Camp Feeds, which is producing feeds for animals. Even now, I'm just coming from Gulu, where there is a new company. Soon after Palenga towards Gulu, there is a company called Aniwe, which is going to produce edible oil from sunflower, and so many others.
We went into the industrialization. We have like Kapeka, led by General Saleh, our chief coordinator. We find there are about more than 20 industries. When you go to Namamve, there are more 100. They are in the hundreds. We are having an industrial park in Mbali. We are establishing an industrial park in Gwenzori. We are planning to do an industrial park in Kisoro. Even in the minerals OWC, we are there.
Singa twalina ba Salim Saleh nga 50 bakikumi singa ensiiginzi walanyi wegenda ke kapeeka olabe amakole buli kintu kyonna kye twagulanga ebweru kiri kapeeka. Abantu abafunye emirimu, abantu babulijjo bafunye emirimu mingi nnyo mu mafactory omwo.
In 2004, when General Salim Saleh joined Kimaka Senior Command and Staff College as the pioneer student, I was also the pioneer directing staff. And he wrote his service paper 3, the commandant service paper on food security. And I didn't know that he had a bigger dream than that. I recall when I was posted in Gulu, 4th Division, in the counter-insurgency operations against the Lord Resistance Army. General Salim Saleh had started food security production in area known as Away. There was massive production taking place in that area. By World Food Program standard, the people who were living in IDP camp were not being fed by the World Food Program 100%. They were contributing only 25%. Because why? Because the people were able to till their land and generate some food from their own land. So that was something that General Salim showed to the people of Acholi. And the coordinator of that work was Brigadier General Francis Achoka Ongom. Most of the proceeds were helping people in the camp. Now he's able to spearhead Operation Wealth Creation that has caused massive production in this country.
Land is our next frontier. Because when you're talking about production, you need land. We have land that is not engaged because of the land tenure systems and the conflict on land. So OWC, again, through our CC, we want to intervene and say, how do we harmonize? How do we bring peace, coexistence on land so that we increase on production? The Chilema area, that's where the land, that was a case study of harmonization of land ownership and land for production. That, remember, it feeds into what is the work in progress as far as harmonization in land sector is concerned.
The success of Operation Wealth Creation in the past 13 years has been attributed to the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the Chief Coordinator, retired General Caleb Akandwanaho Salim Saleh.
The President, this was the best project he designed for this country. One, using the military, there is some order, and we must achieve targets. So we have now instilled that military way of doing things to the civil technical people at the local level where we work with them.
The president initiated it, but the key person who has driven it to its success has been General Saleh. Of course, with his team in the field of the 300 officers.
I think the chief coordinator has been the chief designer of this program. And he has guided right from the top. Policies have been effected because by the time OWC started, there was a lot of disjoint, even at the strategic level. The ministries were not talking to each other. And we have influenced policy at various levels, be it at local government level and at strategic, at the central government level. So this is why we think we have had an impact in the governance of this country as Operation Wealth Creation.
We must embed ourselves into society if we are going to maintain a proper connection between the army and the people. 2012, we wrote a paper called Ceasefire, the future is bright. 2013, that's when the president allowed us to go back to the people. How do you go back to the people? Through Operation Wealth Creation. The UPDF is normally attached to the rural population. The rural population, the peasants, the villagers, because that was our birthplace. So we started with rural development activities. But if you don't understand, because even OWC, the president had anticipated it in all the army must be productive. The army must produce its own equipment. The army must be productive in terms of food security. Now, ever since we were launched, we gave a lot of planting material, a lot of breeding material, until people got so satisfied and they started demanding for another form of input. And when they demanded for that, the president agreed with them and said, now I'm sending you money directly to the parish. So for me, who has been at it for 20 years, I'm the happiest general. Because right now my balance sheet at the parish level is $1 billion. You guys, have you heard about $1 billion at the bottom of the pyramid? So And then there is Emyoga. Emyoga is skills. There we have about 600 billion shillings. Then you have the APFs, agriculture processing facilities. Those are like 1,200. And then you have got the markets. So UPDF through OWC is in contact with the ground. That's the major message, is in contact with the ground.
Operation Wealth Creation has had a successful journey of 13 years from 2013 when it was launched by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and continues to fight household poverty and bring more Ugandans into the money economy, this time with a new mandate to supervise the parish development model, ensure the right enterprises are selected, and PDM funds are not diverted across all PDM pillars.